Welcome back for another video. Let's dig into all your biggest questions and dilemmas ahead of today's deadline, plus all the key news from today's press conferences. My triple captain is active as well, and I've made 2 transfers, so at the end I'll discuss that as well. All that and more right now. First question from Pass, who asks who the best Saka replacements are. We're going to go through what Arteta said about him in the press conference segment later. But starting off, what's the deal with Son then? Well, Postecoglou said, quote, "Sonny's still not right, he's still not feeling 100%, he won't train today, so it's unlikely for this weekend and we'll see after that." So let's fade Son, and this segment is essentially Son replacements as well now. So Foden's home to Southampton, which is as good as any fixture you'll see this season. He played in the Champions League, which can be seen as a good thing because Pep does love rhythm. Doku and Grealish are injured as well, so that perhaps benefits him. That said, I saw some very useful insight from Luke last night on Twitter. Despite the injuries, he's not necessarily locked in to start. He's competing primarily for the 2 central slots the Pep uses, which Bernardo and Gundogan have been playing frequently, and both were subbed early in the Champions League. It was Savio and Nunes that played on the wings, and they both played very well. Savio came away with an assist for Haaland's goal. Nunes came away with a penalty goal and 2 assists. So nothing is guaranteed, though we knew that with Pep really already, and Gundogan has failed to impress recently, so maybe he comes in through the middle. For me, Palmer's the clear best replacement for Saka and Son. We talked about him in depth in the experts video yesterday, so make sure you watch that for more detail. The fixtures, the form, penalties, not in the Europa squad either, so he's going to be fresher around the European football, etc. The last thing to say is that holding on to Saka is not a bad play, especially if you already have Palmer. If I had Palmer and Saka, that's what I'd do personally. There's every chance that Saka was just rested midweek to save him for the Liverpool game. Question from Alice, and she's considering triple captain Haaland, but his performances in the league haven't been the best as of late, she says. The good news is the last match he played, he scored a brace in the Champions League, albeit against Sparta Prague, with the greatest respect to them. We talked about this lots before, and I'm sure you've heard it all, but let's use some of the talking points from back in Gameweek 2 in that final thoughts video, where we made the case for the triple captaincy before he got the hat-trick. I'm going to make a balanced case, for and against, so you can decide what you want to do for your team, and I'll just play devil's advocate. So this season, there's 2 expected double game weeks. There's the bench booster free hit and the triple captain, which are all good in double game weeks. So that's 3 chips to use in 2 double game weeks. However, obviously the free hit can work in blank game weeks. And then we've also got the mystery chip, which is unknown. We don't know how it works or when's best to use it. So it could potentially be 4 chips and only 2 weeks to use them, which lends weight to a single game week triple captaincy. There will be other single game week opportunities though. Salah and Palmer are yet to play the 3 promoted teams at home, and Haaland's still got Leicester home much later in the season when we'll know what the mystery chip is. Obviously the viability of those weeks are unknown though. There could be injuries, there could be Champions League prioritised, etc. As far as game week projections, this is marginally the most projected goals of any player in any game all season, with Haaland on 1.36 expected goals. He was on 1.34 for the Ipswich home game. Now Russell Martin also said, quote, "We're going there with a game plan to try and win the game, not to try and avoid as much damage as we can." So he might not even park the bus and pray for like a 0-0 game or snatch a 1-0. Now, no Rodri, no KDB from Man City is another case for saving it. Perhaps Haaland comes off a bit early as well with one eye on the League Cup away at Spurs next midweek. Let us know in the comments, are you using the chip or have you already used it, or are you saving it? Question from Adi, who asks Calvert-Lewin or Vissa. I think the third player you're forgetting here is Jimenez, who looks much better than Calvert-Lewin right now. He's got 4 goals, 1 assist in his last 5. If I was to pick between the 3, I'd just about give it to Vissa. They're a much better team than Everton, and it's a great entry point home to Ipswich. And let's not forget, in the opening 4 game weeks before the injury, Vissa blanked once, and that was against Liverpool. He got 3 goals, 1 assist in 4. The only risk of Vissa is he's just back from injury, so there's a slight chance of another benching, but he was in the squad last match and he did play off the bench. I'd rank these 3 as Vissa, Raul Jimenez and Calvert-Lewin in that order. Question from Luke, who asks, who's in the FPL Cartel? I think it's about time we blew the lid off this thing, so I'm going to reveal all the names in the cartel.
Tell them there's no FPL Cartel.
Okay, actually ignore that. I can confirm that there is no FPL Cartel, and they've asked, and I believe they're all innocent, so there's no FPL Cartel. Lil Blood asks who the best Saliba replacements are. I've shortlisted 2 here, but we'll talk about some budget picks as well if that's where you're looking. Vardiol and Pedro Porro. Now with Doku and Grealish injured, perhaps Vardiol stands to benefit here of some licence to get forward to provide some threat down the left. Sugawara is also flagged at the moment, who is an important player for them in right back. If he happens to miss out, that could also benefit City's left flank. City are top of the clean sheet odds this week. No defender scored more goals in the league this calendar year than Vardiol's 6. Pedro Porro is away at Palace, so it's not an attractive fixture in comparison. but he does have Ipswich home coming up, and he's completely nailed beyond doubt. And he's taken more shots than any defender both last season and so far this season, 0.6 mil cheaper than Vardy as well. What I should add is that, depending on your defenders, holding on to Saliba is perfectly fine as well. But some other cheap alternatives to look at. Dunk's 4.5 mil and he's home to Wolves. And then in fairness, it is 2 horrendous fixtures after that, before Brighton start to hit a great run of games long term. So he's a useful pick for this week and then a few weeks later onwards. Pinnock I really like as well. He's got great near term fixtures for the next 5. Playable for all of those games, and he's got 2 goals in his last 2. On to the next segment then. Let's go through all the key news from today's press conferences, starting off with Liverpool. And Slot says that Jota's going to miss the trip to Arsenal this week with the rib injury he picked up last game week. Chiesa and Bradley still doubts, and Alisson remains sidelined. Just on that, tread carefully with a Kello pick. You might only get 3 or 4 games out of him before Alisson's back. He could work as a transfer next week if your keeper's got bad fixtures, plus if your wildcard's still in your pocket, but it's a bit of a niche scenario. Obviously you don't want to buy Kello this week before Arsenal. It's also been reported today that Trent's been playing through a discomfort of a muscle strain. Scans revealed a minor issue that could be managed, and while he's playing with pain, he intends to keep making himself available as it heals. Injury management explains why he's had the early substitutions. So nothing to worry about too much, but something to keep an eye on. Newcastle update. Wilson's ruled out to Gameweek 11 at the earliest. No one's got him in FPL to be honest, but Trippier remains sidelined with a hamstring injury that he's got. Lascelles and Bottom are still out long term as well with their injuries. Newcastle away to Chelsea this game week. So just to go over that quote again from Postecoglou, he said, "Son's still not right, still not feeling 100%. He won't train today, so it's unlikely for the weekend, and we'll see after that." It clearly isn't a serious one, so holding on to him just might work out fine to be honest, especially if you've got a decent enough player to come off your bench, like a Semenyo or a Luis Diaz, etc. I wouldn't sell him for a hit if I had him, just start him in the very unlikely chance that he plays. Man City update from Pep. I watched the press conference and he said that De Bruyne, Doku, Grealish and Walker are all up for Gameweek 9. So pretty good news for Lewis's expected minutes if you've got him, but as we keep saying, nothing's guaranteed with Pep. I've got it myself and I hope he'll play. On paper it makes sense because he's got the ability to help break Southampton down. Pep came out with a few remarks on Foden. It's hard to read into exactly what he's saying, but I'll pass on the quote. Screenshot here is from Scout. He said, "I'm not concerned at all how far he is from the Foden of last season, because I know that when he's fine he will get it. He's a natural talent, he will get it. The first goal against Sparta Prague defined a little bit Phil's incredible talent to have sold the game for himself. But in a career of many years, already Phil's got many years, you have these bumps, ups and downs a little bit. He tries to reduce these short setbacks as quickly as possible. They are human beings, be patient, let them feel that. These types of players in these types of moments, we are there, everything is going well. Sooner or later, I'm happy to hear that he feels good because in the end, it depends on himself." So on to Arteta and Saka in particular. Sky reported that they hadn't seen Saka, Calafiori or Timber in training this morning, though it's worth noting they only get 15 minutes to watch before they have to leave. In his press conference, the journalist opened by saying that FPL managers are going to be hanging on to his every word here, and what's the latest with Saka, and Calafiori and Timber, and he said, "We're going to do our very best to have them somehow available, but it's very uncertain." And then on Saka he went on to say, "Yeah, he's done a bit of training on the grass. How far we can get him to Sunday, that's a different question. We'll see." So an unsurprisingly murky answer from Arteta on Saka. As I've said, it wouldn't be at all surprising if he plays, especially given Arteta has now said he's done a bit of training on the grass. Finishing up with some final thoughts on my team and the transfers I've made. My team is Ryer in goal, it's Lewis, Porro and Vardy in defence, Johnson, Palmer, Bumo, Rogers in midfield, Wood, Haaland and Solanke up top. So I've made 2 transfers, I had 2 free transfers, which is Saka and Trent to Palmer and Vardy. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Saka does play, but Arteta is so guarded with key team news, and that uncertainty combined with the opportunity to bring the Palmer move forward a few weeks makes sense to me. I was 0.4 mil short of funding it though, so it was a very close call between going Gabriel to Pinnock or going Trent to Vardy. So basically the combinations would be Trent plus Pinnock or Vardy plus Gabriel. Very close given Liverpool's game after Arsenal are really good, but Vardy plus Gabriel sounds slightly better to me. Further to that, I've activated the triple captainship. I weighed up everything that we discussed in that triple captain segment earlier, and there is an opportunity here and now which may or may not be here later, so I'm going to go for it. I do think it's the least powerful chip of the ones that we know. I mean, maybe the mystery chip will suck, or maybe it'll be really powerful. I can't really imagine them going to the trouble of making such a huge change to the game, only for the chip to be weak or boring and not useful in a double game week. So, good luck to all of you if you're going for it this week, and good luck this game week in general. We'll be live here for the deadline in a few hours as well. See you all then.